tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to decoupage a fall rooster image, a rice paper image that I got from Decoupage Central. It was one of their new releases, and it's just beautiful. I'm loving all of their new papers. They're just, I want them all because fall is my favorite, of course, and the colors are beautiful, and they don't make it hard to make pretty things, that's for sure. So this is the paper. Isn't that beautiful? Those colors are so pretty. And this is just a canvas that I'm going to use. And these are clay molds. This is, I think it's called Victoria from IOD. It's the little letters mold. And I was thinking I had gotten the other one that's all lowercase, but I got the one that's all uppercase. And they're so detailed. I don't know if you can really see that, but there's like lots of detail in those letters. I just love them. So I thought I would put Harvest. And then I have these little resin accent pieces that I'm thinking I'm going to place in some corners. And then on this side and on the bottom, I took some silk flowers and I pulled them off of the stems and I sprayed them with this Rust-Oleum Ultramatte Clear just so I could get them to be stiffer. And then I took a clothespin and closed it together because I wanted them to kind of be 3D and not just flat. So then they stay like that. So then it looks more like a 3D flower. So that's what we're going to be using. And I did some leaves, so they're just a little stiffer. But that's what I'm going to put down here. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to do some paint blending. I really love to do that. So it's just fun. But yes, they do have some gorgeous paper. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decoupage, and I'm going to do it a little off center. I don't want, because I am going to put some leaves and flowers, and I don't want to cover up, much of this beautiful image. So I am going to go ahead and use DIY's liquid patina, and I'm almost out of this. But I have used Rust-Oleum's polyacrylic as a decoupage medium. That's actually what I used on my big pegboard that I just made the other day. And I mean, so far, I don't know. It's worked really good for me. So if anybody knows a long-term issue, maybe it doesn't, I don't know, maybe when it dries really good, it doesn't stay on. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking I'm liking it. So I can always use that. And so normally you paint the back of your rice paper white or your decoupage paper, but since my canvas is white, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to paint around it. But the back of it's not going to be a dark color, so I don't think I need to do that. So I'm just putting a thin coat of this. I don't want to go too high because I need my letters to, that's probably about right. I just saw today on my way home that they've already got the banner up in town for our Kolache Festival. That's the second Saturday in September. You finished a necklace, three events. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's right. You were telling me that there, two of them are closer to home, but then one of them is farther away. Yeah, I'm lucky that the one I'm in September is, it's right here in my hometown. So just a hop, skip, and a jump away. But I'm afraid it's going to be really, really, really hot. So, but maybe we'll get lucky. And that day, for some reason, well, in the past few years, it's either rained or it has been scorching hot. So since we haven't had any rain in quite a while, I'm afraid it's going to be scorching hot. But hopefully I'll stay busy and sell a lot and won't mind the heat as much. Just making sure I've got all the wrinkles out. I see a few bubbles, but not too many wrinkles. Canvas is really easy to decoupage on. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a quick dry. This paper is just beautiful. I mean, I just love it. They really did a good job designing these images. They're just beautiful. Yeah, liquid patina is one of my favorite decoupage mediums just because it's thin and it just, you know, you hardly have any wrinkles. I think a pretty, like a barnwood frame would look really nice on this too. Okay, so I am going to do some paint blending. So make some room here. I've got some green already, which is Fusion's Bayberry. And then I've got a little bit of yellow, which is Fusion's Prairie Sunset. Use a little more of that. And then I am going to use Woodwick by Fusion. Beautiful brown color. I love it. It's kind of a brown gray. And then I'm going to use, I think this is DIY Summer Crush. Just a very pretty, perfect pumpkin-y orange color. And I'm going to use some Dixie Belle Buttercream. It's my favorite off-white creamy color. Running low on this one as well. And I want some water because I will thin them out. Come on, water. There we go. And then I'm also going to use the DIY's layered chocolate. That's what I'm going to do my letters and possibly my little embellishments in, which I am almost completely out of this, but I have to scrape the bottom. Okay, so I usually end up using the same brush. And I'm not sure if this is going to be the brush, but this is what we'll start with. Well, maybe not. That's already got a lot of green on it. I think I want to start with the wood wick. Just add a little water. Hi, Betty. Thank you for joining. So I just kind of like to pounce the color on. So I want to add kind of where the dark is on here already. That's kind of how I base my color choices on. Just kind of get the edges of this because it's already got that dark. But I do need to make sure I go lighter up here because that's where my letters are going to be, and I don't want it to be too dark where you can't see my letters. So I do have to remember to do that. And I think my goal is, when I do this, is just to make it look like an extension of the paper, like the colors kind of bleed out into the canvas. Kind of like to get a base color first, and then we'll go back and blend with some other colors. I want to do some of the lighter buttercream. I like this for blending. And then you can just spritz your paper, your canvas or whatever, your paint. It helps move the paint a little more. And you just kind of play with it till you get the color that you like. I need it to go lighter up here because of the letters. And you know, you trust the process because a lot of times it gets ugly before it gets pretty. I love this yellow. This is just the prettiest yellow. It's Prairie Sunset. I just love it. Yeah, I like to wipe off my brush because you get a lot of paint on it. So if you wipe it, then you can go back and dab some more, and then that softens it. Softens the look of your paint. Helps it blend better. Add a little more lighter here and there. Kind of looks like clouds almost. Thought I would do a little more yellow in one corner to kind of make it look like it was a kind of a sun shining a bit. I gotta move this. I keep getting my arm in it, which is not unusual. I'm usually covered in paint. Okay, let's see. I want some more light down here. And my goal when I paint blend is I don't really like any harsh lines. I like it to look like it just kind of gradually goes into the next color. That's what I like to do. So add a little of the orange pumpkin-y color in here because these leaves are a bit of a rusty color. So I kind of like to make it look like the colors are kind of bleeding into the, you know, the canvas or whatever. I think that's such a cool look. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of green because the leaves aren't, right here aren't super green, but it doesn't take a whole lot of the paint either. I mean, you just put a little bit on, some more of the darker. And this part right here on this side is not going to be seen that much anyway, because this is where all of my leaves and stuff will be, but I still, you know, still got to do it just in case something peeks through. I really like this fusion paint. I was worried that it might not blend well because it does have a built-in top coat, but I have no issues wetting it and paint blending. It does just fine. And it has the smoothest application. It just glides on. I love it. I like to make the seam around it kind of disappear. So I have to keep looking to see what do I need to add. Almost has a hazy, foggy kind of look to it. I think that's good. I've got a little bit right here that, okay, I think I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to move this over to the side because I want to paint my letters. I broke my H, but that's okay because we're going to glue it on there. Some of these I had made before and they're resin. So this is the resin and these are the clay molds that I had just made. So the clay molds aren't, they're not quite dry, but I usually try to paint my molds pretty quick so that they don't get brittle. And these are getting just a little bit brittle, but they'll be fine because we're going to glue them on. There's really no neat way to do this without getting your fingers all dirty. They don't have to be completely covered. So this is the resin. The resin is definitely easier to paint because, and plus these are already cured. I mean, I made these a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I definitely think in the future, when I make these letters from these molds, I will use resin because it is definitely easier to handle. Okay, let me get these little, and these are resin, so these are definitely going to be easier to paint. If anybody's interested in the rice paper or this mold I used for these letters, I can put the link down to Decoupage Center. They carry all of these goodies. That's where I got them from. That's where I got the rice paper from. So now I'm going to put our letters on. These are It's the Victoria mold from IOD. That's what I made these letters from. And then these are just some little, I think I got maybe from Amazon, possibly. I got this is just Type Bond Quick and Thick. It's very good to put your molds on with. And since this is so small, I use a brush. Usually I just use my finger, but let's see, I want to put this. So I think if I was to have glued it, right away to the surface, then I wouldn't have to handle them so much, and they probably would have, not broken on me. And if I could have gotten paint on them right away, but they did sit there without any paint at all on them, and they do tend to get drier. Moving on. I'm going to put these little scrolly things on. I tried making my own chalk paint, and I got some plaster of Paris and the paint, and I did the water. I think, and it didn't work that well for me. I think though where I messed up is I think that you need to use warm water and dissolve your plaster of Paris in the warm water first, and then mix your paint. I think that's where I messed up. So now we're going to start putting our flowers and our leaves on. So these, I had said, these are just some leaves off some picks, and I sprayed them with this Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Clear Matte. And then I, while they were wet, I kind of closed it and put a clothespin on it and let them dry that way. So just so they would be a little more 3D looking. Lowe's has got a little shelf over in their paint area that when people have special paints mixed for a special color, and then they decide they don't like it, then they'll bring it back and you can get those marked down. So I've gotten lots and lots of just little, pints of paint for like $2. So, and it off-white or any color. I'll use, I use all kinds of colors, so I'm not super particular. Yeah, so I'm not, I think I need to dry brush a lighter color there. I don't care for that dark too much, but the yellow, I think, definitely looks better. The green didn't really show up, but this yellow is a bit like a white wax almost. Orange. Yeah, let me try to do that over the yellow. We'll do a highlight of both colors. Yeah, that definitely looks better. Now, have a this Le Courrier stamp, and I kind of thought I might add a little right here, just, you know, for some interest. It's actually the first time I have ever used this stamp set, but I did condition it. I did go over it with sandpaper already, so I'm just going to use this one, and I'm only going to do, well, you know, I should use a smaller one. Maybe we can do a couple of interesting things there. We'll see if this is even going to show up. We may have to do it in a black. Yeah, it does. That's awesome. That's perfect. Perfect amount. Just want to hold it in place always, because it can smear if you let it move. I'm sure everybody knows that, but yeah, there we go. Just a little interest. Yeah, I think that kind of completed it. I love that. So this will make a very nice wall hanging for a kitchen, for a dining room, anywhere. I mean, you could put it in, you know, it's pretty enough that you could put it in your living room or, but anyway, so that's it. I think that turned out pretty decent. I like it. Love the colors. Fall is my favorite time of year. So anyway, thanks again for joining, and we will see y'all next time. Have a good evening.